want to welcome up Solomon Kassa, who is our next guest. So, welcome. It's with great pleasure we have you here today. So maybe we start with just tell us who you are, what you're up to, what you do, introduce yourself, and then we'll dive in. Thank you.
First of all, disclaimer, I'm used to a pin mic when I do my TV show. So this is uncomfortable, but I'll try to,
We'll step up next time.
Static. Sure. Solomon, እንዴት ናችሁ መጀመሪያ? ደህና መሻችሁ? እሺ. Solomon Kassa, born and raised in Addis, and left for the US about 17 years or 16 years ago for scholarship, but never left my country really, I mean, in person by Honam, but in spirit I've always been here. That's actually the main reason, kind of staying connected through what I do right now, to give back and to stay connected with my people. So yeah, pretty much.
Amazing. I'm glad you were able to join us. When I asked you to speak, someone's a big deal when they say, I might be a little bit late because I'm with the Prime Minister. So you're like, are you sure you're going to be able to make it if you're going to the Prime Minister's office beforehand? But he has made it in time.
I was with his team, not with him today.
Same thing, right?
Okay.
Let's say, no. Dr. Abi Kasama Gabza, I don't know. Name Gabza. So maybe tell us a little bit about what you're working on. Your show with EBS is a tech show. How did you get into that? What's the journey to being who you are today, a real notable voice in this sector and in this industry?
Absolutely. I'm left-handed, by the way, for those of you who don't know. So I've always been artistic. I play music, but I've always been technical as well. So growing up, I was very popular in making SHIBO MEKINA, Safari Ust. Right? Yeah. Not only that, I used to monetize that. I used to sell it for hulat bir. And the next thing is I kind of upgraded to a Chinet Makina. And then you remember the stick, that you steer the car. And I was able to manage to do a trailer that የሚገለበጠው. So what I did was ክር በሸንበቆ ውስጥ አድርጌ so ይገለበጣል. So you put the little stones and I can just show it off, and I sold that for 5 ብር. So
entrepreneur from young.
So always been technical, but I always wanted to be an architect or a designer. But growing up in Ethiopia, after points, you don't choose what you want to study. The government decides it for you, right? But anyways, always wanted more school. So I was writing different schools. At that point, it was a dial-up. Anybody remember dial-up? Internet dial-up? Yeah, that's what I used to apply for about 20-something schools. You can only imagine how painful it was. So luckily one school accepted me. So therefore the States, I think the technical side of me kicked in. So decided to study computer science, did that undergrad, and became a software developer for about 6 years. And I am not your typical nerd. I think because I'm lefty, I have that design side of me. I'm people's person. I'm not a nerd, like introverted. Like, don't talk to me, let me just keep coding. I'm not that kind of person, actually. My colleagues used to tease me, when I go to work, I like fashion and stuff, but my colleagues would be like, dirty jeans, don't cut their hair. I don't have a hair, so that's not a concern. But they wouldn't cut their hair, they don't talk to people, but I'm always, people's person. So I said, maybe there's more to it. So I decided to go back to school, did my master's in tech kind of management strategy. So that's when I decided to join a consulting world. That would really make me stand in front of people, strategize, advise, and talk, and whiteboard, and all of that. So that is what I do right now. I work for Deloitte Consulting, based in the US. It's a global company, but I do strictly technology consulting and strategy. But the show, I'm going to say it later, but I'm going to say it now too. I hate complacency. And also, I want to share. So I wanted to share. So I'm really far away, about 11,000 miles away, but I love my people, love my country. How can I contribute? So the first thing that came to me was, okay, I'm a developer. I can do a website and start blogging. And Amharic was a key thing for me. I did not want language to be a barrier. So that was already set and done. So I started developing the website, and before I finished it, I was frustrated because I said, am I really going to crunch out an Amharic blog every day or every other day and not stop? Because if I start something, I don't want to stop. So I was in a kind of pause mode and back burner, and I have this funny friend whenever we eat lunch with my friends and stuff, I always talk about tech stuff. So I'm too nerdy for them. So this guy said, should we eat? Bamaringa is better. Misahun nibla always yantan technology liflefa anisma lemon kafala keda television la tawram maling. So he's just saying it jokingly, right? But instinct picked up at that night. I was like, TV, but I'm in America. I want to serve Ethiopians. How can I do that? I called him anyways. His name is Ephraim. I was like, you are just teasing me, you know, and stuff. And he was like, are you serious about it? So there's an EBS, you can do stuff. At that point, I did not know what EBS was. This was about 7-8 years ago, and EBS was just starting. And they happened to be his cousins. So he was like, if you're serious about it, just think about it. I can put you in front of him, and then you can pitch in the idea. And I took about 2 weeks. I'm a consultant. I love slides and presentations. So I put together my ideas, and I said, I'm ready. Just put me through. And I went there and pitched my idea. At that point, I have no idea how to speak in front of a camera, but I just said, this is my idea. I want to contribute, and they loved it. So that's how I started the TV show. So I started figuring it out, and here we are, 7 years nonstop, about 195 episodes, and that's where I am.
Incredible. So yeah, let's hear it. This is. So most people would know of the show. But for those that don't, maybe tell us a little bit about what is the show about?
Absolutely. The show is strictly science and technology, but not in a nerdy and technical way. I think the reason why I think kind of people kind of like it is I use layman's term. I make it very easy and entertaining because it can be boring for some people who are not technical. So it's a combination of me just explaining things in front of a camera, or me going to an actual venue and touch the stuff and explain how they work. I went to Barcelona, the biggest mobile congress, the mobile show back in February. And every year I do the Vegas show. If you guys know, the biggest consumer electronic show happens in Las Vegas. So I go there and then explain things. And the third main piece is I bring in people. And I let them speak about their journey, and specifically science and tech people and Ethiopians and Ethiopian Americans, because I'm there. And that actually generated a lot of inspiration, because I was lucky enough to bring in people from NASA scientists and Ivy League professors and entrepreneurs and many others. My first guest actually is I always talk about this. My very first guest, his name is Dr. Solomon, and he is the presidential award winner in physics. So he received his medal. A medal award in America is the highest form of award. So that's how I started it. And then the next person was
Abisha?
Abisha, Dr.
Wow,
absolutely.
That's incredible.
So that's kind of the framework of how my show is structured.
And so, obviously, working as a consultant for the likes of Deloitte isn't not time consuming. That's hugely time consuming. How do you find the time to both full-time work, but also have this on the side with the deep motivation to inspire people back home?
Absolutely, it's a burden. It's a good kind of burden, right? And also, I have this. There's this Japanese concept. I'm going to tell you what it is later, but let me just explain to you what it is around it. So the first thing is, in life we all have something that we love, and then there's something that the world needs always, and there's something that we can be paid for, and the fourth element is there's something that we are really, really good at, but they are always like kind of. They're not attracting forces, they're kind of opposing forces, right? So if we do something we love and the world needs it, it becomes a mission, right? And then if the world needs it, and then if that can get us some form of revenue, it becomes a vocation. But if we can be paid for what we are really, really good at, it becomes a profession. But if you're good at something and we love doing it, it becomes a passion. But if it becomes only a passion, it might not fit the mission, or we might stay broke because we're not getting paid for it. So that's the kind of different combinations of it. So I said at the center of it, if it touches a little bit of everything, what we do in life, it becomes the reason for being. And then it's a Japanese concept called ikigai. So it literally means the reason for being. So passion might not be enough by itself, mission might not be enough by itself, vocation might not be enough by itself, and also a profession might not be. So that was actually the driving force for me to say, okay, I'm a professional, so I can fit where I can get paid for, and I'm good at doing consulting. So I can stay professional and then just enjoy life. But there's always that missing thing. Oh, am I really relevant in this world? Because there's something that the world needs, I'm not giving that, right? So that's actually the driving force to say, let me do more. I know I pay the price. It can be less sleep, it can be less fun. I mean, I'm an adventurous guy, so it might be missing a couple of travels and sometimes in family time. I have a beautiful daughter; she's 10 years old. So, but that is actually pretty much my underlying philosophy of doing extra things on top of my profession.
That's incredible. I think there's something to be said when we're doing these sessions. It's not just necessarily like go out and start a business, but it's actually think entrepreneurially around being a problem solver, seeing the challenges and providing solutions. Whether that is in a commercial way or not, in one sense, is irrelevant. And so when I listen to you talking, you've seen, even though you're working full-time and earning a living, you're seeing opportunities for how you can be a problem solver for the community that we exist in. And so that's hugely, hugely inspiring. So you're working full-time as a consultant, you've got this TV show, but it doesn't end there. You've also written a book, I've read. Yes. So tell us a little bit about, what's that about?
Absolutely. I mean, again, another inspiration, right? So because of the TV show, a lot of people reached me, and it was beyond. By the way, I do the TV show solo. I just do it. I mean, I do the research. When you see me in front of TV for 30 minutes, but that's like about 8 hours worth of work. I have to do the research, and I have to make it fit to our audience context. It's in Amharic. I have to kind of, research in English, think in English, and then speak it in Amharic. So it kind of needs some time, right? I said, 80 million people in this country live in the rural area, right? You guys know that, right? 80 million people live in a completely off-grid, no connection, no power, nothing in a rural area. So 20 million people are the ones like you living in a city area. So am I really serving my community? Really? 20 million people? And so I said, how about my brothers and sisters who live in the rural area? So book, you cannot stop book. It's the most powerful thing. And I said, okay, I'm going to write a book, but it's hard. I don't know how to write it. Just the same way I was not able to, do the blogging. And I said, am I going to stop it? So I was in that kind of, dilemma. And I randomly opened this email because I received thousands of emails. And I received this text email from a guy from Jimma. And he's young, apparently from his message. He said, I have never missed your show. This was about 4 years ago. My show was 3 years into, its airing. So he said, I have never missed your show. And he said, by the way, I live in a Gatarust, right? But he said he travels about 15 or 20 kilometers round trip to go to the nearest small town where there is a TV and a cafe, watches it, walks half of it, and uses Gari half of it. And he said he never missed the show. And it kind of gave me a wet eye, right? I mean, it was like, oh my goodness. But there are a lot of people, teenagers, who cannot do that, people who doesn't have any means to do that. I said, yes, this is a confirmation for me. The guy was able to do it. But so for those who are not able to do it in the gutter, I said, I'm going to finish this book. So that's how the book came to a reality. Yeah.
Nice. And yeah, wow. I mean, if I received the email like that, I would be in tears. That's. It was hard. Yeah, my goodness, that's touching. People walk. Yeah, wow. So tell us.
The book is in Amharic, by the way. Okay.
So this is the book. Tell us a bit about the book. What is it about?
Sure. The book it literally says. Okay. Can you read this? So it says ግርምተ ሳይቴክ, literally means the wonder of science and technology. So basically I tell the story, and then it has a subtitle. It says የሰው ልጆች አስደናቂ የስልጣኔ ጉዞ በትላንት ዛሬና ነገ ውስጥ ሲቃኝ ይላል. So what I'm trying to do in this book is kind of telling the story of human civilization starting from the first industrial revolution. I mean, the past 250 years is so amazing to me, because if you can trace humanity back to about 9,000 before Christ, just in terms of civilization, it was flat. It was really flat. The first agricultural revolution happened 9,000 years before Christ, and then we had to wait about 1,000 years to find poultry. We had to wait for another 1,000 years to find writing, and then it was extremely slow. And then even after Christ, we had to wait until 1540 something or something until we see the next big thing, which is printing, right? And then about 1784, things started going really extremely fast. 1784, the first revolution, and then it was just extremely fast. So that was fascinating to me. I mean, if you put it in perspective, how we came about, depending on what you believe, right? You can say billions, millions, 10,000. So it doesn't really matter. It's still surprising the fact that we've been civilized in the past 250 years. So I said, let me capture that, and let me capture that in Amharic. So the book has 4 sections. So how did we start? Where are we today? where we're heading tomorrow. And the fourth piece is extremely important to me. It literally says, how about us, Inyas. So it has this black element and how we left out and how we were actually amazingly magnificent people up to the 10th century. You can refer to the Timbuktu, the Mali civilization, our own Lalibela and Aksumites and the Egyptians, everything. But something really horrible happened, and I don't have to explain that, in the colonialism and then slavery, that really crushed us. And not only that, you know, they were able to destroy everything so that we don't have identity. And, you know, if you want to own someone, just take away his confidence or her confidence, then that's everything else is easy. But thanks to archaeology, we were able to trace some of it. So we have that evidence that how amazing people we are. So I said, stop whining, and how can we leapfrog and then continue our greatness? So that fourth section kind of recommends how can we catch up with the rest of the world, because it's kind of scary where we stand in terms of within the grand scheme of the globalization and this 21st crazy digital century. So that's my recommendation section. So that's pretty much the gist of the book.
Amazing. That's hugely fascinating, particularly in one of the things that we continually address here is it's so important to be aware of where we've come from, but how we look forwards has to be one of optimism, hope, problem solving. And if we live in a complacent manner, in an apathetic manner, things have been bad for us, we won't see any change happen. And actually, the attitude for what the future looks like has to be, it's in our hands. We have to take responsibility for it. We have to shape it, right? So let's talk a little bit about the context that we're in, the opportunities that you see. When you talk about tech, it's through the lens of what's going on in the US to inspire people here. So when you look at Ethiopia, you're here for a week now. Just talking to what you're observing, what are you seeing around the opportunities, the sense of excitement, that sort of thing?
Absolutely, this is a great time, by the way. I call this a golden rush, the gold rush that happened in California back when America was shaping up, because right now everything is opening up. I mean, right, today is what, Thursday? I don't know if I was away from news thanks to internet. There is no internet, right? We were in a blackout for 3 days. It's unbelievable. Yeah, wait for me. Check out my status when the internet comes back. I have something to say about that. But yeah, I might get a beating for it. But
you'll be gone by then, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're safe.
I will get in trouble, right? But this is a great opportunity. The proclamation is about to be passed to liberalize and partially privatize telecom, which is extremely important. After the expo, and one of the main reasons I came for, there was a 2-day summit at the Sheraton. Specifically Innovation Digital Africa Summit, and then mostly the focus was how we can provide more telecom service in this country. But here's the irony, let me tell you something funny. So the summit was actually literally called Innovation Africa Digital Summit, right? But there, we are in a blackout. No, seriously, I mean, and a bunch of CEOs were there, like big company CEOs, and they had to be, staying in touch with their employees, and they're running 20,000, 30,000 people, and they have to check their BlackBerries and their iPhones, and they're like nothing. I can see their nervousness and then just red cheeks, and what am I gonna do? So, but anyways, so opportunity is extremely huge, and the next reform is gonna be banking, right? Really, that's gonna be really the next wave. So the banking, private liberalization combined with telecom, access, is going to open up a whole lot of the Pandora box for tech revolution. So the landscape is absolutely critical this time. But again, we do have challenges, right? And tech is a little tricky. It needs an ecosystem. You can be talented, you can have money, but if you don't have infrastructure, if you don't have internet or power, you can't do anything. And it's shaped by so many moving parts. So that's a part of the dialogue, is how can we create that environment and make policy easier for tech startups. I have a friend who moved from New Jersey. She was telling me that it took her 6 months to have a tech license because they could not understand her business plan, literally. They couldn't understand it. What is it? We don't know what you're trying to say, and it's not in a category of our license issuances. And it took her 6 months to get. It was a blockchain-related tech startup, and they could not understand it. So that has to change. And finance is a really problem in tech because you can't touch tech. You can't touch a software, right? If a brilliant guy can come and say, "Oh, I'm creating a software that's going to change the world," and what would the investor say? Show me. I mean, because we ferro, blockade, cimento. የመሬት ካርታ ምናምን ማየት ነው የለመድነው አይደለም። ስለዚህ አይዲያ this knowledge driven የሆነ revolutionary የሆነ አይዲያ ሲመጣ በጣም ሃርድ ነው ያንን conceptualize አድርጎ grasp ለማድረግ ማስቻል። So a lot is going on. So opportunity is great, but always, Lenny, it's kind of good benchmarking. I'm from the other side, but I am here too, and seeing the disparity in the digital divide. By the way, there is a class division in this day and age, and it's called the digital divide. It's so scary, right? And I was kind of giving this anecdote in one of my speeches. So let me tell you that. Just 5 big companies: Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Facebook, right? Their market cap, their market valuation is about 4.3. I mean, fluctuates based on the stock, but I think a few days I pulled it before the internet went out. It was $4.3 trillion, just 5 of them. And most, I think 3 of them are under 25, and 2 of them are under 45, okay? $4.3 trillion. 48 countries, sub-Saharan Africa, 48 countries. Their GDP is $2.1 trillion. Just think about that. Just let it sink in for a second, right? 48 countries having a GDP, collective GDP of $2.1 trillion. And age, 1,000 years, hundreds of years, you name it, right? So that's the power of this digital age that we're talking about. And in this is actually a 4th industrial revolution. The magic of this era is that it empowers every single of you. And in the past, it was making rich the corporate and the big shots. Now, do you know, I mean, Caleb knows, most of you know. Let me give you one example. One guy, I think I mentioned in my book, there's one guy in the States. I think he was 17 when I was writing the book. He has a Vine account. Anybody knows Vine? Vine? Okay, it's a 6-second video. He was making at that time $3.1 million a year. $3.1 million. I think most of the CEOs don't even make that much money, right? Running a company. So that's the power of digital age. Every individual is empowered to do anything, and the YouTubes and other platforms is just the sky is the limit. So this is the kind of ecosystem and the kind of environment we're in. The competition is going down to a single individual level. So you can imagine it, you can make it happen with these tools and this enabling environment. So in Ethiopia, so that's the disparity. So we are really, really way behind. So we have to have that leapfrogging concept and embrace things. And it needs really collective and then working in a synergy amongst many other stakeholders.
And we're going to open up the floor in a second to questions, but I'd love for you to, if you were to say one thing to somebody who is either watching online or sitting in this room who's thinking about creating that huge business, that thing that's going to create hundreds of thousands of jobs, ምን ትመክራቸዋለህ? በእንግሊዝኛ በአማርኛ የፈለግከውን. What would you say to them?
Let me tell you some amazing story, right? I don't want you to boost, but I'm going to tell you this. We are one of the most brightest people. I'm telling you. Like the kids, our kids, you give them something very little, they can deliver. I was in Prague about 20 days ago, Czech Republic. Beautiful city, by the way. If you have a chance to travel, definitely should be on your list. Prague. It's amazing. So I was there to speak, and I posted it on my LinkedIn account saying that, okay, I'm going there to speak at some innovation summit for Africa. And some guy DM'd me and saying that, oh, wow, you're my inspiration. I want to see you. I know you might be busy. Let me just invite you dinner. So I said, wow. I mean, I thought there was no Ethiopian in Prague. I said, what, there's Ethiopian? Sure. And then the day I arrived, I contacted him. We met for dinner. He was telling me his story. He's very young. He's from Dilla. ታውቃላችሁ ዲላ? So he was born and raised in Dilla. እስከ 12ኛ ክፍል ድረስ ኮምፒውተር የሚባል ባይኑ አይቶ አያውቅም ነበር። እስከ 12ኛ ክፍል ኮምፒውተር ነክቶ አይደለም አይቶ አያውቅም ነበር። And then, but he was one of the ሰቃይ ተማሪ ነበር. So he was assigned in Dilla University. So he decided to study computer science. Yeah, he decided to study computer science, and he's brilliant. He's genius, right? And he was telling me that they were using paper to do coding, right? Coding, I mean, just like imagine, I mean, it takes actually a quadruple genius to write a code, because when we write it on the computer, when it breaks, we know, right? And then you fix it. You write it on paper, how do you know it's right? I mean, how can it compile? How are you sure about the algorithm and everything? So he was doing that, and apparently I think he was able to get access to computers, even though very scarce in Dilla University. And he was Zamsak Aitamari, and he got a master's opportunity in Czech Republic. So he went there, studied his computer science, And right now, you know who he is? He's like one of the most appreciated and admired and award winner software developer in one of the best companies in the world. HQ is somewhere else, but they have a huge office in Czech Republic. Now he just got promoted to be a lead architect for software development. I mean, he's not here, but give him a round of applause.
Wow. That's so cool.
This is just one simple random story, but I mean, because of, as I said, I get stuff, and then I get to hear this individual grassroots kind of story, heartwarming, and we have the potential, and this guy wants to come and open business. So what I'm saying is on an individual level, be it entrepreneurship, be it wherever you are being effective, I think this is a time to do it. Let me tell you something, you're gonna face challenge, and it's really, as much as an exciting landscape, it's also the most challenging, especially if you're in tech space, because I can only speak about that if you open that kind of stuff, have a wide, a really wide heart, and then be patient. But I think this is a time, and job creation, I'm an advocate for that. Some people, argue industrialization and manufacturing is the only way. I know it's important because we don't have it, but we're trying to catch up something that happened about 150 years ago. So we need to have this tech on parallel. And the job creation aspect of it is extremely tremendous, because if we say, market is small here, nobody uses tech, how about exporting? How about outsourcing? How about using these genius engineers so that we can have a platform to give our talent? Because you don't have to be anywhere. I mean, there are a lot of Facebook developers who live in Africa. There's this platform called Andela. It's a Nigerian-born company. It's basically a talent to employer connection platform. So a lot of Facebook, Google, and Microsoft engineers work from their home in Lagos through this platform and being a full-time Facebook or Google engineers. So that kind of stuff needs to happen in Ethiopia, because we do have a lot of talent pool, and also, of course, serving our country. Because when we talk about tech, we immediately something that comes is it's a fancy thing. Let's first feed our hungry, let's first heal our sick, let's first, that kind of stuff. But my argument is that, and what I said here and what I always say is that tech is a tool, and then it can expedite fixing our problem. So, and we need to embed that. So that's my argument, and it's a really great opportunity to do that kind of stuff here in Ethiopia.
Incredible. So we're going to open up the floor. As you think about your questions before we open up, just to touch on that a little bit, at this venture capital private equity forum that was going on, I was moderating with Belcash, this new Antler, which is about venture building, and then Youssef from Ethio Jobs. And the big thing they identified when it comes to tech is how much of an enabler it is. So take, for instance, Ride, which has created thousands of jobs. The drivers themselves aren't necessarily tech-savvy, tech software developers, but what technology has done has become a huge enabler. Similar for Ethio Jobs itself as a platform. It's an enabler for thousands of people to find opportunities. And so the role that we have as maybe being some of us tech savvy is to look at how do we play a role in being enablers for the creation of thousands of jobs. And so it's a really interesting space, and tech is a fascinating one, and you're someone that is inspiring, innovating, challenging, and so we're very, very grateful for your voice into this space that's leading people even in rural parts of the country to be inspired and go on to do amazing things. So can we hear it one more time for Solo, and then we'll open up for the floor. So if you have a question, just put your hand up, and then we'll come to you, and then, so yeah. My sister here lives 4 hours from Jimma. I think we just bypassed that. That's pretty impressive. I'll ask what you're doing later. But how did you look to market your book to those regions and those far parts?
Yeah, that's a great question. That has been a challenge because I don't live here, and I was not. This is my first time. I'm a rookie author, right? So I don't know this territory, and it's not an easy one in Ethiopia. Actually, it's monopolized, and you have to go through a certain network, and you can't do it by yourself. If I was here, maybe I would have found a means. So what I'm depending on is my distributor. And hopefully he would be, because that was the main reason of this book, was to reach out to those people, my brothers and sisters there, who don't have access to my shows and electronic means. So the hope is that through him, but I don't have a measure to really see if that really happened. So whenever I come, I try to check pulse, but I want that, but and he told me, he gave me his verbal promise that he's going to distribute it through rural channels and everything. So I can only trust him because I don't live here. But really, if I find partners and if this territory allows me to do that, I can bypass distributors just for the sake of reaching this to the rural areas. I don't know if anybody have any suggestions. I am more than willing to do that. But right now, it's a very tough business in Ethiopia. Distributing books, it's monopolized. I heard it's only 5 distributors. You have to go through them and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
So anybody out there who'd like to be a distributor, you come speak to Solomon after. Yep. So yeah. So how have you created such value? What is the one character trait within you that you feel has done that?
Absolutely. This is the one that I said I'm going to repeat it later. So stay away from complacency and stay hungry. I think those 2 attitudes will keep you sane, keep you grounded, and keep you humble. And the other one I want to add is just I don't want to put value in me. Let the thing that I do speak, and the rest I leave it. So and 2 things, right? As much as you love people who appreciate you, and love people who criticize you, and it's extremely important. People who appreciate you will keep you going, keep you the moral boost. People who criticize you will shape you. Absolutely. So I think I grew up here, so I know the culture, the tradition, everything here. So we are really not keen to people who criticize us. I think we react, we get offended, we take it personal. So I think embracing criticism, and it's a key way to keep you shaped up and laser focus and learning more and adding more, and that's also an element. If you have only people who appreciate you, do you think you're gonna be complacent, and you're not gonna be staying hungry? Yeah, I got this, and then you lose your humbleness, ego kicks in and everything. So that's why just surround yourself with people who can confront you in a good way, in a positive way, not in a toxic way, and stay with them, and that will keep you going.
Great. So the 2 questions are: the first is, what's your outlook for the next 10 years almost within this industry? It feels like often there's a catch-up that we're playing. So actually, how do we innovate? How do we pioneer? And then the second question was around policy and how, as we try and grow tech startups in a very regulated environment, how do we shape and change policy? Absolutely.
Outlook, I can divide it into 2, right? Because my one leg is in there and my another leg is here. So I have to keep that perspective, and it helps for benchmarking as well. So the next 10 years, globally, things are going to go exponential, even crazy, right? The AI is coming so hard, and the implication of it is it's not going to stay within the developed world. In the past, when robots were created, they took away what? Labor job, right? When tractor came to be, it took away the manual. It was disruptive, right? And then robot, arm started in the 50s and 60s, and then the extremely exponential growth in manufacturing, and then they took the job of the manufacturing, the handymans, and the techies. Now AI is coming, and it's not gonna back up, taking away professional jobs. And in my show, in my book, I mentioned some of professional jobs that are being threatened by AI and machine learning and all that. There is now a fully working pharmacist in 3 or 4 hospitals in the world who's doing a pharmacist job, fully, receiving prescription and crunching out medicine. And a pharmacist job is one of the most respected job, and you stay 6 years in school, it pays you well in the States, and that's the kind of thing. And paralegal is another professional job that I mentioned as an example of AI threatening this kind of job. The first, they call it lawyer in a court. The first AI lawyer was hired in Boston about 2 years ago. Basically, what that machine is doing is that compiling cases for the lawyers. The lawyers will go to the court and then argue, right? But the magic that happens in the background in compiling that, arguments and supporting documents is done by a professional called paralegal assistant, and it's a professional job. Now computers are becoming very smart in compiling and in triangulating documents and putting pieces together and then building a case. So AI is doing it now. What was the other one? I just kind of blocked out. There was another one. Oh yeah, accounting. Okay, in that side of the world, if somebody comes to me as a mentee and say, what kind of study should I do in college, I would never say accounting, because that job is getting threatened in that part of the world, because machines are the best things right now doing number crunching, auditing, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's threatening this thing called professional job. White collar jobs are being threatened. So that's the trend. And the driverless car is going to become fully autonomous. There are different levels of driverless cars. That's going to take away, a driver's job. 3 years ago, a full beer was transported from Colorado to another, like 1,000-something miles, fully autonomous. There was a human being there just to make sure if he needs to take control. But where the world is heading is that a fully autonomous car are going to come into play. Uber is testing a driverless car. Imagine. Uber took taxi drivers out of the job. Now Uber is also now disrupting to take the driverless themselves out of the job. That's the kind of trend we are projecting in the next 10, 15 years. Coming to Africa, right? I'm very optimistic, first of all, to answer that. But the gap is huge, but we have to start now. We have to be in a panic mode. That's what I always say policymakers whenever I meet with them. And right now, what's happening in Ethiopia right now is it's just really good, fertile ground, but the policy and the regulation has to be passed really immediately so that we can really leapfrog and jumpstart what we can do. If we start right, I think in the next 10 years, I don't want to compare apples and oranges, but we'll be able to create jobs. We'll be able to create a lot of solutions that can solve our very issues, as I said, in agribusiness and in fintech, financial inclusion, in transportation, and in digital health, and many other pieces. So the outlook is really great, but we have to start it right. So in the next 10 years, I can see a partially digitized Ethiopia, really, to be honest.
Amazing. Antes, መች ነው የምትመለሰው?
Did I miss the second question? The policy. Let me answer that.
You're dodging
first.
my question.
No, I will answer. I will answer. In my part, in my power, I've been doing that, really. I mean, behind the scene, behind the TV show, as Caleb mentioned, I came from the PM's office, kind of having this kind of conversation, really. I mean, when they do. Amazing people supporting him, by the way, so really, really amazing people. So you will see some amazing changes in terms of policy, roadmap, and strategy. So I'm just kind of keeping them in check. Are you considering tech in this policy making? Are you, as you shape the country's policy and roadmap, are you having tech in the background? Because I understand they have so many other needs, and tech might be an oversight. Oh, we forgot about that. I want to make sure that doesn't happen. So, and they are extremely open for suggestions and to kind of tweak policies and to have the nuances of tech economy, digital economy. So we are doing that, and so many other people are advocating for that. So I think it's kind of shaping well. And you guys might hear some policies, new initiatives to make startups and tech kind of business easier for them to operate here. So I think they are in the making. Yeah. So for your question, when am I coming back? I'm doing back and forth, right? Let me tell you something very honest. If I didn't have a daughter, I would have been in Ethiopia about 3 years ago. My daughter is my number one priority. Nothing comes before her. And she's 10 years old, so I just want to be with her. And that is the reason that I'm not coming here, not like completely moving. So, but I'm doing a lot of back and forth. As you can see, one leg here, one leg there. So if I can, create a platform where I can operate in that fashion and finding great partners here, I think I'm gonna launch something fairly soon if that works out for me. So yeah, that's the answer. Is that it?
Good. Let's go. So often, social media, digital can be painted in a negative light because we live like this now. Paint just in brief kind of the positives and the negatives of social media and the digital revolution here in Ethiopia.
Absolutely. I like to lead by example in that sector especially. So because of the TV show and my opinions, I have followings on social media. So whenever I say stuff, I say it very carefully and then always say it from a positive angle. Even if I want to criticize, I don't message it from the negative kind of perspective, right? I can criticize, but systematically and for a positive outcome. So people can follow me, and then they can see that, and then I hope to influence that. And whenever I see negative energy, what I advise others is just to kind of avoid. avoid that. And I have also thought on my show, like a couple of shows, actually 3 shows, specifically talking about that. What is the danger? And there is both sides of it. It's social media. Tech itself is a double sword. It's a double-edged sword. So it's how you use it, because tech is, it's not evil, it's not good. It's just agnostic to both. It's just exactly how you use it. And innovation too, for that matter. So with all the means that I have, I always try to influence to avoid negativity, nationwide, individual to individual, group to group. So that's what I've been doing. I'm going to continue to do that, and I hope people will follow suit and realize that negative energies can only destroy. And all of you here, and since I have the chance, just keep on the positive side. You can absolutely criticize. I mean, otherwise, I mean, there won't be opinion, and we won't be shaping the generation. So absolutely continue criticizing, but always see it from the positive angle and for a good cause. So I think if all of us can do that, that collective attitude and mindset can shape our country for the better.
Excellent. And I'll open it. I just have a follow-up question to. There's probably a lot of diaspora watching who are working out whether they come back. What do they do? You're someone who has figured out a way of being a positive influence, impacting the homeland from there. What advice would you have to people who are like, I want to do something, I don't know if now's the right time, how can I create a positive impact from where they are, whether they're in Sweden or the US or the UK or Djibouti, South Africa, the diaspora all over? What would you say to those that
The first thing I say is, for those of you who were disconnected for quite a while for several reasons, life, family, political opinion, and different other aspects in family, the first thing I say is come check it out, come see it, stay connect with your people, and there's some energy that comes to you. You can feel it, that gives you the urge of coming back again, right? I came back after 10 years, and after that it was never 10 years later. So, and then I came back again 3 years after, and then I came back after 1 year, and then within 1 year I came 5 times. 2018 I traveled 5 times. To Addis, and this is my first travel 2019. So I think I'm coming next month. So you can see that, right? So what I'm saying is, just come first. Just come. It can be opportunity, challenges and opportunities. Don't hear it from there. Come, feel it, see it, connect with your people, and try to figure it out and what you can do. And then I think right now, with the new vision, with the new guidance, I think there's a support system. I can tell. I'm not gonna lie to you saying that everything is gonna be alga balga. So there are challenges. Things are different here, different mindset, different landscape. But if you have, national love and a love of you people in your heart, I think you can bypass that. You can be patient, and so come see it. That's what I can say.
Amazing, amazing. I think we have time for one. Yeah, let's hear it. That's good. Wow. So I think we have room for 1 or 2. Mr. Tamrat, okay. A bit of warning. It's one question wrapped up in 18. So I think this will take up the remaining time. So Mr. Tamrat, what's your question, sir? Huh? ገባኝ ምንድን ነው ገባኝ በአማርኛ ሪፒት ላድርገው ሰምተሃል አይደል እሺ መልስልኝ
ገብቶታል በደንብ
ገባ you are loud enough በደንብ ተሰማ
የመጀመሪያው ይገርምሃል 2 ቀን በፊት የአዲስ አበባ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ተማሪዎች ሜየር ኢንጂነር ታከለ ሂድና እስቲ ኢንስፓየር አድርጋቸው ብለው አብረን ሄደን ንግግር ትንሽ አድርጌ ነበር። ተመራቂዎች ናቸው። አሜዚንግ ጋይስ። መጀመሪያ አዳራሽ ውስጥ ገብቼ ከመነጋገሬ በፊት የተመራቂዎች ፕሮጀክት ነው ያዩት። 8 ፕሮጀክቶች የሚገርም ነገር ነው ያሳዩኝ። የሚገርም ፕራክቲካል የሚሰራ ነገር 8 ፕሮጀክቶች። if there is a linkage between industry and in the institution, it can be product ሆኖ ስኬል ሆኖ it's a full market ውስጥ መውጣት የሚችል ነገር ነው። ግን ያ ላንድስኬፕ ያ ኢኮሲስተም የለም። ስለዚህ እነሱም የጠየቁኝ ይሄንን ነበር። እኛ ብዙዎቹ ሶፍትዌር ኢንጂነሪንግ ወይ ኤሌክትሪካል ኢንጂነሪንግ ወይ ባዮኬሚካል ኢንጂነሪንግ and software engineering ተማሪዎች የ5 ኪሎ strictly solid science and tech college which is one of the best actually እነሱ እና ምን እንዴት አድርገን ነው ምን አይነት ስራ ነው የምንሰራው ስንወጣ ምንም የለም እና በቃ ብዙዎች እንደሚጠይቁት ውጭ ሀገር እንዴት ሄደን እንሰራ ምን አይነት ቻናል አለ ምን አይነት ሚንስ አለ I don't blame them. So ግን ቅድም ካሌብም እንዳለው ቴክ ስታርትአፕ ስታር ወይ ቴክኖሎጂ ፕሮዳክት ሲመጣ በዙሪያ የሚፈጠሩ ነገሮች አሉ ጃብ ክሬሽኑም አለ አሁን እኔም ማስበው በቴሌቪዥን ሾው ፓርቲኩላርሊ ሳይሆን ቢሳካልኝ ብዬ ያሰብኩት እንደዛ አይነት ፕላትፎርም ማድረግ ፈልጋለሁ የኢኖቬሽን ሃብ እነዚህ ልጆች መጥተው practically product from prototype up all the way to scaled የሚሆን ፕሮዳክት እስከሚያመጡ ያ ነገር እንዲፈጠርላቸው ያስፈልጋል። አለበለዚያ የምትቀጠርበትም የቴክኖሎጂ ኩባንያ ብዙም የለም። ስለዚህ ከስታርትአፕ ጀምሮ ስታርትአፑ ደግሞ አድጎ በስሩ ከሚቀጥራቸውን ኢንጂነሮች ታሳቢ አድርጎ ይሄ በጣም በእንደዚህ አይነት ነው ሮድ ማፕ መሰራት ያለበት። so that's what we trying to do ከተሳካልን ያ ከሆነ እንዲሁም ደግሞ ቅድም የጠቀስኩት እዚህ ሆነው ለፌስቡክ ኮድ ማድረግ ይችላሉ። ፕላትፎርሙ ካለ ኢንተርኔት 3 ቀን በቀን ካልጠፋ 3 ቀን ካልጠፋ በመደዳ imagine if that kind of platform is here and Deloitte is Facebook is expecting you to release one software and you block out for 3 days. so እነዚህ ነገሮች ይስተካከላሉ። ኦፕቲሚስት ነኝ። አይ ኖ አሁን የሆነበትን ምክንያት the underlying reasonun እናውቃለን ፈተና እንዳይሰረቅ ከሚል ነው። ግን የኔ ኦፒኒየን I mean ቢሆን ሌሎች መፍትሄዎች ቢገኙ ፈተናው እንዳይሰረቅ የሚሆንበት እዚህ ጋር ቁጭ ብለን በርግጥ ኃላፊዎች እኛ ያላየነው እነሱ ከብዷቸው ይሄን ያደረጉበት ምክንያት ሊኖር ይችላል። ክሪቲሳይዝ ሳደርግም ከዛ አንፃር መሆን አለበት ብዬ ማጂክ ፍጠሩ እያልኩ አይደለም። ግን ቢሆን የፈተናው የማይሰረቅበት መንገድ ቢገኝ እና አንድ ሀገር ለ3 ቀን ኢንተርኔት ውጪ ባትሆን actually ጠዋት one of the top advisors I was asking his opinion. I don't want to disclose the name but so I was like what's your opinion ነው ያልኳቸው እና he said I agree እንደዚህ መሆን አልነበረበትም because እኔ ያላየሁትን ሁሉ ነው ያሳዩኝ። ኤልሲ መክፈት አይቻልም። ኢምፖርት ኤክስፖርት ቆሟል። ወደብ ላይ ያሉ በርካታ እቃዎች ፍሪዝ አድርገዋል። ባንኪንግ ሲስተም የለም። የህዝቡን እንኳን ፐብሊክ ሰርቪሱን እንኳን እርሱት መንጃ ፈቃድህን ለማሳደስ ከባንክ ደብተር እሱን ፎርጌት ኢትስ ኦኬ ይደርሳል ቢባል ኦን ናሽናል ሌቭል ኦን ግራንድ ስኬል ሌቭል ይሄ ኳንቲፋይ ቢደረግ መጽሐፌ ላይ አንድ ነገር ጠቅሻለሁ። አማዞን የሆነ ጊዜ ለ45 ደቂቃ ዳውን ሆኖ when they quantify the amount of money they lost it was in millions, right? So it's just an example. so quantify ማድረግ የሚቻልበት means ቢኖር በዚህ በ3 ቀን ውስጥ የሆነው economic loss it's mind blowing, trust me, but we just don't feel it, we don't quantify it, we don't disclose it, we don't study it. so ያ ካለ ደግሞ እዚሁ ቁጭ ብሎ ኢንጂነሮቻችን ለውጭ ሀገር አውትሶርሲንግ የምንለው ማደል ማለት ነው ቁጭ ብሎ ለየትኛውም ኩባንያ ከዚህ ሆነ መስራት ይችላሉ። ታለንቱ አላቸውና that's my approach. ለሁለተኛው በጣም አልገባኝም to be honest የሁለተኛው ጥያቄ
እኔ ገባኝ ያለው ዩቲዩብ ላይ ብዙ ተመልካቾች አሉ ሞኔታይዝ ሲደረግ በዶላር ነው ወደዛ የሚሄደው እዚህ እንዴት ነው
በዚሁ አጋጣሚ የኮፒራይቱን ልናገር በጣም ከሚያናደደኝ ነገር መካከል የሰዎች ኢንተሌክቹዋል ፕሮፐርቲ ተሰርቆ ሌሎች ሰዎች ሲወስዱት አይደል YouTube as a platform has a way to detect copyright infringement. ችግሩ ምንድነው ኮፒራይት ኮንቴንት ኦነሮቹ ያንን ስለማያውቁ ሬጂስተር ስለማያስደርጉ ነው። ባይ ዘ ዌይ if you are a singer and have or a documentary ሰርተህ ዩቲዩብ ላይ አውጥተህ ሌላ ሰው ያን ዳውንሎድ አድርጎ እንደገና አፕሎድ ቢያደርገው ያ እንዳይደረግ ከመጀመሪያው አፕሎድ ሲደረግ ለዩቲዩብ ሬጂስተር ማስደረግ ይቻላል። ኮዴኩ የቪዲዮ ሲግኒቸር አሉ እያንዳንዱ ቪዲዮ። ስለዚህ the minute somebody is trying to upload the same content the software is extremely smart enough to catch it while you upload it ወይም አፕሎድ ካደረግከው በኋላ ፍላግ ያደርጋል። so actually ብዙ ጊዜ ሰው ሌባ የዩቲዩብ ሌባ አለ ዩቲዩብ ላይ ከበዛ ዩቲዩብ ያንን አካውንቱን ሁሉ ተርሚኔት ያደርጋል። ስለዚህ ኮንቴንት ኦነሮች እዚህ ካላችሁ there is a way to register your intellectual property but for YouTube and then so that nobody can steal it የሚለው ነገር ነው። ግን ይሄ የኢንካሙ ጉዳይ እንግዲህ አይ ቲንክ አንደኛው ምክንያት ምናልባት ቻሌንጁ የምለው ባንክ አካውንትን ከዚህ ሀገር ኮኔክት ለማድረግ ያስቸግራል። ብዙ ጊዜ እዚህ ያሉት ኮንቴንት ኦነሮች አክቹሊ አሜሪካ ካላቸው ወዳጅ ጋር ወይ ኬንያ ካላቸው ወዳጅ ጋር ተነጋግረው እስቲ እንደዚህ ፕላትፎርሙም ስለሌለ በሱ አካውንት ተደርገው ሰው ገንዘቡ ሲበዛ ችግርም አለው እዚህ ስለሌለ ነው። እዚህ ያለ ካለ ዋይር ጋር I don't know if YouTube can wire your money to Addis Ababa to Ethiopia, so that's a challenge too. ከሆነ በኋላ ደግሞ እንዴት ይደረግ እሱ በውይይት የሚደረግ ነገር ይሆናል። የሬጉሌሽን ኢንፎርስመንትም ካለው እንዳልከው ስራ እየተሰራበት ከሆነ አገሪቱ ያንን ፌር ሼር ማግኘት አለባት የሚለው ኮንሰርን መሰለኝ።
Solomon, you are an inspiration. What you're doing is incredible. The fact you're able to spin so many plates and inspire so many people. I'm sure you all agree with me in thanking Solomon for his time this evening. Can we just hear it for him right now?